Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the Wealthy Dentist Podcast. I'm your host, Ward Powell. And if you're a dentist looking to crack the code on how to grow your practice and dominate in this space, then stick around. You're in the right place. Every week, we're sitting down with some amazing dentists who are doing incredible things in their businesses. We're talking about everything from how they keep their teams loyal and dedicated to how they stay ahead of the game in this crazy, fast-changing industry. You'll hear about hacks like using virtual assistants to free up your time, strategies to make more sales with less effort, and even mind-blowing stories about patents and inventions that are changing the industry as we know it. And it's not just about growing your practice, it's also about finding out what works from a clinical perspective. Whether you're just starting or you're ready to scale to the next level, there's something here for you. So buckle up, hit that subscribe button, and let's dive in.
Sometimes they don't value marketing like they should. And these days, the patients have a lot more options than in the past. The website is a crucial thing because that's the first thing that somebody sees before they call you, thinking that online presence is not important.
All right, I want to just welcome a wonderful, wonderful person to our podcast, the Wealthy Dentist Podcast. Thank you for joining us today, Barak. We're excited to have you. We want to get all of this wonderful information that you have available for us today. And just want to start off by saying, what was your initial interest in, first of all, tell me a little bit about yourself before we go about the interest of you working with dentists. But tell me a little bit about your background before we even go there.
Sure. First of all, thank you for having me. It's my honor, and I appreciate you inviting me to the show. My journey started actually in business consulting. I was a business consultant for a while, and at a certain point of my life, I decided to focus specifically on marketing because that's where people were hurting the most. That's where people were lacking the most. And I started doing marketing, several marketing. My background is I also have a degree in computer science, so all the digital was very natural to me. At one point, I became very good, and I had some dentists that I got very fast results. And I'm talking about, I started the marketing company in 2009. I started actually working with dentists, and I started having very fast and impressive result, so much so that I was invited to speak in dental conventions and conferences.
Okay.
So I spoke, for example, in the like Orange County Dental Society because I lived in Los Angeles area, and I started having a lot of dentists as clients. So I decided to push everything away and just work with dentists, and I've been doing that for 15 years now. So I went through a lot of stages of marketing, or specifically dental marketing, a lot of changes, a lot of evolution in that specific field. And I got some successes and some feathers in my hat. I got some magazines that wanted me to write articles. I appeared on ABC, CBS, Fox. I wrote articles to Huffington Post and CNN. And I was invited afterwards to be on the board of directors for the Private Dentist Alliance alongside Dr. Gordon Christensen. So he was a board advisor for the technical side, and I was on the marketing side. So out of all the marketing companies, they chose me to be on the board of advisors, which was a great honor.
Congratulations.
So again, I've been doing that for quite a long time. I just keep a little bit lower key because I don't want to work with hundreds or thousands of dentists like some other marketing companies. I cap myself, and usually I have waiting lists for my services.
Okay. Sounds great. So it sounds like you're in great demand here. That is great to hear that you have been in the business for quite some time, almost a decade and a half, to be exact, and doing it in the best way possible to service our dentist industry. We really appreciate you. So getting back to that question that I kind of turned away from, earlier. So what would you say that will be something of some of the misconceptions about dentistry that you'd like to debunk?
Well, first of all, I mean, probably the answer would be different if you ask a dentist and you ask me. I'm looking at it from the marketing perspective.
Sure.
So what I want to debunk basically in patient's mind is that dentistry is not a commodity. And this is something that started to be more prevalent. A lot more people think about that, and probably dentists see that when they're getting patients calling and asking, how much is a crown? As if that's the only thing that will decide if that's a good fit for them or not. So that's kind of like one thing that is. You know what? I'm gonna even mention another one. Okay, you know it's such a good question. So that not necessarily just one thing. So this is from the patients. This is like my mission when I work with a client. But I also saw some misconception that dentists make sometimes, which is that sometimes they don't value marketing like they should. So they think they take marketing as granted that if I do good work, then patients will know about that and they will come. And it was true in the past. In the past, when marketing was limited, especially for dentists, I mean, a lot of dentists, some of the older dentists or veteran dentists would still remember they had a lot more restrictions on how they market, okay? And it was true in the past that you could shine if you do a good job. Word of mouth alone could carry you, you know? It was enough. But in this day and age, the playing field has been leveled.
Competition, yes.
Exactly. Competition is a lot more fierce. And it's a lot easier for people starting out even, or people or dentists that not necessarily have the best result, to look as if they do, okay, or to shine, okay? And these days, the patients have a lot more options than in the past, and they check things differently than they used to.
Yeah, they do.
So, yeah, so marketing has changed quite a bit, and a lot of dentists are still not caught up to the new way or kind of like the more effective way that you should market your practice. And it doesn't necessarily end with people think that the thing that if I'll do a good job, that would be fine, which is quite common. I speak with a lot of dentists that don't do any marketing. But in addition to that, some of them are choosing paths that not necessarily are beneficial for them and to just throwing money away. So I just want to stress that the misconception regarding marketing, that marketing has changed. Marketing has changed quite a bit, and it's changing all the time. And we see that even changing even more after COVID.
You know, it's interesting that, you know, the word marketing comes up because, of course, that's your background. But I want to, you know, take this opportunity because it is a hot subject. And we do have like all of these different social media platforms that, you know, that people are thinking about or even they're using them. What would you say to the dentist that is looking to get involved with marketing? What are some of the what do you think are the 5 most important things that they should look at before they even decide on what kind of marketing person that they want to deal with?
Okay, well, that's an interesting question. Let me try to get few points that I see that are not being done well. The first one is let's say ineffective websites. Okay, the website is a crucial thing because that's the first thing that somebody sees before they call you. Okay, so even patients that were referred to a certain dentist will look that dentist up. They usually don't get just one name.
That's true.
Maybe they get one name for one person, but they get several names. I mean, we're used to now in this culture not just to trust one source.
Yes.
I mean, think about that. Let's say even the headset that I see that you have on your ears, you probably checked, and you don't just just one brand, right?
Right.
Okay. And it's not like just one person recommends you, hey, you should get the Sony or you should get the Bose. Everybody has an opinion, so people are used to check different opinions and ask different people, not just one. Okay.
Sure.
And they do look at reviews, for example, and they look at the bad reviews here and this model and that model. The same thing is done with choosing a dentist.
Yes.
So they will, even if they get a referral, and this is backed by a Cohn research that was done, that more than 84% of people that get referral from a friend or family member will not take it as face value and go and check on that recommendation. So they will open the website, they will see reviews, they will look at other options, they will search dentist near me or best dentist in Dallas or whatever it is that they want to check, and they will get other options, and then they weigh them to get the list down to 2 people or 3 or something like that, you know? So the website is a crucial part of it. And if you don't have an effective website, then you're basically barring the way to your practice, okay, in a way. Now, an ineffective website can be one of several things. It can be ugly or an old website, and I've seen that. I actually recently I had a call from a dentist that in the last 3 years is paying for companies that just send her leads, but then the leads don't come. They list no shows, or you know she getting that kind of like low-level leads, not the ones that will be able to pay for dental implants. Those were the dental implant leads. And then I'm looking at her website and say, no wonder. Look, actually, I said that I looked at the website and said, I can bet that those people that are coming, those leads are not closing. They're either not showing. She said, right, how do you know that? I said, look, your website looks terrible. You know, it's very old. It's like 8 years old, but it looks like it was created before the internet was invented, you know? So this is like just one example. Me as a patient, when I got a referral for a dentist to do a couple of restorations a few years back, I pulled up his website. It looked so outdated that it reflected in my mind, even though I know those things, about the quality of service he does. Like if he's so behind, maybe he's behind on his CE courses, maybe he's behind on his technology. You don't really analyze it logically, but this thought creeps up, you know, subconsciously. So it can be ugly and all. It can be ineffective in terms of bad SEO. So it can not rank because it may be beautiful, but so heavy that it loads very slow or doesn't have the right codes in the right places. So what good it is if it is not found? The third thing I see from ineffective website is that it's not written correctly. It has to be written for conversions so that patients looking at the website will be forced to call that dentist and, well, that's the best solution for me.
Call to action, yes.
If it's, and a lot of times it's written by poorly knowledgeable people in terms of marketing that maybe don't understand fully the mind of a patient. You see, I've been doing that for over 15 years, but I see a lot of companies that just starting anew, like marketing companies that only doing it for a year or 2, and they don't understand the psychology of a patient. So that is not reflected on the website. The website should be basically answering the questions that the patients have in their mind already. And it also needs to build up the dentist as the authority in his field. And this is not something that marketing companies know to do because it is not marketing. It is in another field, which is public relations, PR. And it has nothing to do specifically with marketing. So this is one thing that I've seen, that ineffective website. Second is not really investing in online presence. Okay, thinking that online presence is not important. Now, this is something actually that is pretty new in the mindset of dentists. Well, you know, in the past, it was dentists that thought that yellow pages is enough. There are no people like that now. Okay, everybody knows.
Yes.
However, after COVID, something has changed with the dentists, and there's most of the dentists started looking at only short-term results. not the long term, building their brand, building their marketing, building their online presence. And you started seeing, I don't know if it's on your news feed. I'm sure that every dentist that's listening sees the same thing on his news feed like me. But a lot of companies just offering, we'll get you leads. We'll get you 25 leads a month. We'll get you, get dental implant leads or you don't pay, all sort of like things like that. But this is just getting leads without building the online presence. Because just getting leads is not enough. You're just raising the awareness with those patients that they need to do implants, that they need to do Invisalign, that they need to do veneers, whatever the leads are for. But then, like, who's the provider? Again, we're coming back to the website, but it's also SEO because they're looking for any other options. If you're not coming up on the search results, for example, you're not being considered, or maybe your competitors are now pitched against you. Okay, so maybe they will come and not decide because they want to see other options. Maybe they won't even come. Okay, so if you don't have the online presence, you're basically wasting all this money that you put on just getting the short-term leads or whatever it is that you're doing. You have to have a holistic view of what is needed to get patients in. And it's not just one thing, but companies that offer one thing want dentists to believe that this one thing is the silver bullet that's going to save them. There is a saying that if the only tool you have is a hammer, everything starts to look like a nail. And that's basically what is being done. So you have to have basically a dentist, have to look at it, have to get on his side someone that is not just providing one service, but have an array of tools that can be used to whatever is needed, that can be customized to his needs. And there are companies like that, but it's not everyone. Okay.
That is so true. That is so true. I think not meaning to cut you off. I just wanted to add to, or not add to it, but I wanted you, if you could you kind of expand on that whole idea of leads? Because I mean, what one may call a lead may not be a lead. And I think you kind of alluded to that earlier, that, these leads are, how can you tell that you're going to get quality leads? If they say they're going to get you leads, 25, 50 leads, whatever it is, a week or whatever it is, I mean, like, that doesn't mean that you're getting quality leads. You could just be getting leads that, I mean, I don't know where they get these things or these leads or their lists from, but, how does a dentist prevent from getting, taken for a ride, if you will, with respect to some of these marketing companies? I'm not saying all, that says I get you 25 leads, but the 25 leads, I mean, out of the bunch, it might be one in there. I mean, and that's terrible in my opinion. So what are your thoughts on that?
So here it is. First of all, I don't want to bash anybody. There are some companies, there are some good companies out there, but there are far too few out of all the array of companies that are there. But there's actually two that I have in mind that can actually get quality leads, and a lot of others that are not up to par. So but what you're saying is very interesting, because look, from my experience, I see that there are two groups of patients.
Okay.
Two groups of patients. One group is, and I talk about that in my book, Attract Better Patients, how to position yourself as a go-to dentist for higher value cases. This is a best-selling book, and that it's few years back, and I do need to update it, but the data there is
still relevant.
Yeah, it's still relevant, and be relevant for a very long time. Look, I'm reading a book now at the moment. I'm reading a book from 1962, and it's still relevant.
Oh yeah,
because
I do the same.
Yeah, it's from the time that people had to know marketing so well, because you couldn't take chances. Okay, but anyway, to get back to what I'm saying, it's covered in my book. There are two groups of patients. The first group are those that are looking for the best for the best deal. They are looking for the cheapest price. They will just jump ship and go to your competitor across the street as soon as he has a promotion. They will not follow your instructions. They will think that you, the dentist, is just out there to get their money, okay? And they don't want to invest in their oral care. They come just when they have to, or something like that. Okay, this is one group. The second group is those that appreciate quality. They will listen to what the dentist is saying. They will follow instructions. They will want to have aesthetic services, elective ones. Okay, they are willing to spend even more if the doctor is better. Okay, they will drive farther. They will be more patient with appointment availability, and they'll stick with. They will be loyal, basically, to the dentist for years. They will not go to somebody else because he has a Groupon, if that makes sense. Okay, and those two groups are about 50-50. But the latter, the one that appreciate quality, is spending about 3 times as much the first group I mentioned. Okay, per year. Okay.
Wow.
So you have those two groups, and you have to decide. The dentist have to decide which one he wants to target. Because I've seen dentists that are having a lot of success targeting this group or the other group.
Oh, wow.
Okay. But one group means that he has to be very fast and get them in the door and out quickly, and it's quite stressful. Okay, those people will not appreciate so much the extra quality. They'll give you some bad reviews because the receptionist didn't smile to me, something like that. This is, but I've seen dentists succeed in those two paths, but you cannot have them both, because marketing to one group will deter the other group. Okay, so if you market your price, for example, or promotions or coupons, the people that appreciate quality are not really attracted to that. Okay, like I don't look even on my Valpak mail or something like that. I just throw it to the garbage. You see, and if I'll see somebody there, I'll probably won't come to him, just because it's not the vibe that communicates to me. On the other hand, communicating the quality will deter the ones that are looking for the best price. See, everybody is looking for the best deal. Okay, maybe I said that, I mentioned that before, but the best deal is not necessarily the price. It can be the same price but higher quality. So that's something that when I mentioned leads, you better have the kind of like attracting those better patients, like I mentioned in my book. And people probably see that mirror wise and cannot read this, but that's what it is. And you asked me before about misconceptions and things that dentists are doing wrong.
Yeah, you on 2, or you going on 3?
The third thing I wanted to say, which is the third thing I mentioned ineffective website. I mentioned not really thinking about expanding their online presence. The third thing is neglecting building their positioning or their brand. And this is something that I don't blame dentists, because nobody is speaking about that. Marketing companies, it's not in what they do. Okay, this is not something what they do, and actually that connects with one of my articles on Huffington Post, which talks about that if you don't do that step before you do marketing, you're burning your money away, because that step is building your positioning, building your authority. And if you do that, then you're going to attract better patients. You're going to attract those patients from that latter group. Look, when I needed implants, I drove 2 cities away and paid about 40% more for a dentist to do the implants, because I knew he's the best in my area. And people come to him from all over the world to learn about bone grafting. And I needed number 2 and 3, and dentists will know which ones, and just below the sinus cavity. And whatever even if you just replacing them, you need to do some bone grafting. And I didn't want to go wrong. And I prefer to pay a little bit more for the best in the business. So if you build yourself up, you'll get those type of patients that are willing to pay more, that are willing to drive longer. So, and that's one misconception, that you can just do marketing right away. You can, but you'll get a little bit better results, a lot better results, if you do it smart, if you do it in the effective way. And that's, I mean, I didn't know that when I started, but this is something I developed in time. And I have a system. I call the system predictable patients technology. And it is based on getting the authority of the building up the authority of the dentist so that he will be viewed as the best solution. Because dentists are restricted. They cannot say that they do the best work in the area. You know, they're going to be in trouble with the board if they're going to do that. They cannot claim superiority of what they do. So, and you know, you will see a bad marketing company if they write on their website best dentist in so and so, because that's forbidden. You cannot say that. So, but you can communicate that in different ways. You can basically have that concept created in patient's mind without saying that implicitly.
Oh, wow. Great. So I guess that kind of leads into the next question. Can you discuss particularly challenging cases that you've dealt with respect to dentists that will help them improve their practice if they were to follow some of the techniques that you've expressed to us today?
You know what, and this is another thing that I will answer probably different than dentists, because a dentist has his doors open and everyone can come with his own case, be presented. I don't have like too challenging case. I speak with the dentist before and I can decide if I can help him. And in some cases, like if I see that it's not going to be working well, I'm not going to take that. Okay. So I only fight battles I know I can win. And sometimes, yes, sometimes we are starting in a disadvantage. Okay, but I take it only if I know that it's something I can do. But I can give you an example of a rule that I made for myself, that because like I said, I'm not taking everyone. Actually, I work only with 20 dentists at any given time. So I can personally, as a business owner, as a person who knows the business, can supervise them directly and not just handing it over to a $20 an hour customer service type of people to be like an account manager. Look, you know that. You see all the some companies that brag that they have 650 dentists or 1,000 dentists or 800 dentists being serviced. I'm not like that. I work only with 20. I have a 20 clients cap because of that. So I can speak with the person and see if I want to help them, if I can. And if, for example, a person doesn't so much care for marketing or doesn't want to do anything extra, I want to think that it'll go on continuing the same way, it's going to be the same way, then maybe it's not a good fit. Well, one of the things, just a second, one of the things I'm asking, which sounds a little bit silly, is like, I'm not necessarily asking, but I'm looking to see if the person wants to grow the business or not. And I do that because in one case, a few years ago, I took a dentist, and in a period of a year, I managed to double his practice, double. And then it was too much for him. He was freaking out. Yeah, because he wanted a little bit more quiet, and it was in Phoenix. He wanted to do a lot of hikes in the Grand Canyon, and that was too much work for him. He didn't want a lot of stuff and so on. And I was checking on him, and now he's an associate in somebody else's practice. Okay, so the point is that I need to see. So you can say, well, that was a little bit challenging at the beginning working with him, because he had a small practice. He didn't have a big practice. Now I managed to double it, but it was like too much for him to bite. So you can say that was challenging just because the starting point was that he was like not too big. You know what I mean? Like it was something that now I'm checking. I really want to check if the person actually is built for expansion before I take him.
Yeah, I can see what that's key. I mean, like, yeah, if you're not like, you can say that you want something, but when you get what you want, you like, you know, it's like a child. It's they think they want food that they once they taste it, they says, "Oh no, I didn't want that." You know, it's
Yeah, because
eyes are
then you get
bigger.
other problems. You get
Mm-hmm.
problems of staffing and
Mm-hmm.
delivery, and you need
Mm-hmm.
another hygienist, and maybe
Mm-hmm.
you need some more operatories.
Yeah.
So, you have other problems to deal
Mm-hmm.
with. I
Mm-hmm.
understand. I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
not like it sounds stupid to say that,
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, I want to make sure that you actually want more patient. But hey, some people don't think it through,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, everybody wants to earn more.
Yes.
The system I'm using is good because you don't just get more business, you get more quality business, so then you can earn more and work less, if that makes sense. But
I mean, I'm sure a lot of people would concur with that. Nobody wants to work less or work more and earn less. Nobody, no question. I'm just wondering, I mean, like with this kind of information, is that something that you kind of coach them through as a part of your services as you like doing the marketing part? Are you having that conversation about expansion and your ability to actually expand on a level that they probably can't? Or,
well,
is
let
that
me try
feedback
to
that you
yeah.
help them with?
First of all, I on that specific thing, I don't need to coach them. If there are clients, they want to expand. Otherwise, I won't take them because why should they pay me just to move things around? They should be they should have the desire to expand. Okay, already.
And the capacity, right?
And the capacity and the willingness, right? Yes. Um, so with this part, I don't have to coach them, but yes, sometimes there are some things that I do need to coach them. For example, to understand, let's say we want to position them as the best in their area. So we may need to have some, let's say, some videos being done. And they have to have they have to understand that this is part of the deal. If not, well, maybe one of the staff can do that. You see, in the worst case, we can have an actor do it, but it's not as convincing as if it is filmed in their practice with the background that patients recognize. You see what I mean? Like it's so sometimes, yes, I need to tell them, look, you want to be known as the implant provider in the area? Let's make some videos with you telling the benefits of implants, the consequences of not doing implants, the alternatives, and let's cover that. Let's dissect that. And you're gonna be the you see when you build an authority, it's not that somebody gives you a certificate that hey, you are the authority in the area. Okay, nobody is doing that. I mean, and I keep saying there are authorities like Susie Orman or Dave Ramsey in finance. They're not necessarily the best financial consultants. Or Dr. Oz is not necessarily the best medical doctor. Or even Tony Robbins not necessarily the best
Business
coach.
manager, coach,
Yeah,
yeah.
or something like that, or business consultant, and so on. But they are the authority. Why? Because they are perceived as the educators and advocate for their clients' success. So the same thing with the dentist. He should be there as the educator and advocate for his patient's health. Okay, so if to paraphrase that, and therefore, in order to do that, look, all those people that I mentioned, and I should add Dr. Phil there and a lot of others. In the dentistry world, hey, you have Gordon Christensen, you have Bill Dorfman, Dr. Bill Dorfman. You have a lot of people that are leading, and what makes them lead is a few things. First of all, they have a book. They are authors. Authority is connected to being an author. But also they are out there making presentations, videos, they're speaking and stuff like that. They are not there shying behind some machines. Okay.
Yes.
So this is one thing that I would coach. And also
Good.
marketing, like certain marketing things that sometimes dentists don't really realize. But then they see that as consumer, they expect that, but no, but sometimes they need to speak with the dentist to kind of like figure out what is the best marketing campaign that we should do or something like that. And I'm getting sometimes to a situation where I I should have a marketing conversation.
Mm. So what can you talk about some of the financial mistakes dentists make that you've noticed in during their early career? You've been in the business for, like I said, a decade and a half, over a decade and a half. I'm sure you saw young veterans make some mistakes. Maybe they're common mistakes. I don't know. But what have you saw as being some of the prevailing mistakes that dentists make?
One of the things that I've seen working with dentists, because that's what basically we're looking at dentistry. We're looking at things that can help dentists.
Right.
Podcasts. And one of the things I've seen quite a bit is dentists that look at marketing as an expense. Okay, so this is something that is quite repeating, because they look at it as an expense and thinking they can save money by just not doing marketing. Now, there is like in my mind there are like so many quotes from very notable people that said how marketing is not a cost. This is the one thing that can build your business. Okay, and yes, it is an expense, like a tax write-off. Like a line in your let's say in your QuickBooks, it will come up as an expense, but this is not an expense. This is an investment.
Yes.
And so many just kind of like, I don't want to misquote something. I have a video that explain my services a little bit, and in that you can find some of the quotes. But the point I want to make is that marketing is one of the things that put money in your pocket, that will grow your business. But some dentists don't value that, and they're trying to get either the cheapest way possible, which is going to be not effective, okay? Because everybody can do that cheaper, but not necessarily it's going to be workable, okay? And usually, and most likely, cheap is not good, and good is not cheap. That's what it is, And but sometimes you see dentists that are not doing any marketing. And it's more often than not. I spoke in a lot of conventions. I saw a lot of dentists, and in a lot of cases, the dentists that not doing marketing, and they're also not the ones that are successful. Okay, so misconception, one financial thing that dentists are trying to save on it, and it's like, let's say, it's like saving on not doing oil changes because it's like it's an expense, and then
right. Yeah, you're
okay,
gonna have bigger problems than you ever wanted to have, right? You
If
ever
I,
thought
if
you were
I,
gonna have.
or if you translate it to dentistry, it's like saying, I have some pain in my tooth, but I don't want to spend 1,500 or whatever it is on a crown, or 1,800 or whatever it is. So then the problem becomes bigger. So that's kind of like the concept, but it's not hurting them that the website is not fixed, that they're not ranking anywhere, that the branding is bad and stuff like that. It doesn't hurt them like a toothache. So it can be postponed, but then patients are not coming. So the problem basically that I see is that dentists don't, sometimes, not all of them, some are very successful, but those that are successful do understand business. But otherwise, those that are not, they're not looking at how much they're thinking about losing money. But it's not losing the money that is being subtracted from them, is that the money that is left on the table that they don't earn. That's the big money. You see, when I had a client that I increased their revenue by 113,000 per month on average. I'm not talking about a spike or something like that. Like it took like 5 months average before we started, and then 5 months, and we did an average, and we saw an increase of 113. That's 1.3 million per year. Now imagine that they wanted to save and just go for low quality marketing and maybe save $1,000 a month or $500 a month. They wouldn't just lose, they wouldn't just, that's not the difference that they quote unquote save. They would have lost $1 million per year by not taking the right path. You see, so the money that you are not getting because you're doing something ineffective is bigger than the money you may lose. But even if that marketing, takes a few months to get off the ground, okay? Because good marketing, it's not instant.
No.
It may take time to build a brand or positioning or to rank and stuff like that. So dentists looking at the short term of that's an expense I'm not willing to make. They're also ignoring this is a revenue I'm not gonna get.
Absolutely. That's a loss.
That's the bigger loss.
Yes, yes.
Okay? And then in 3 years, that $1 million per year becomes $3 million that they lost. You see what I mean? Like, that's kind of like if you ask me about mistakes, and I've seen in the past videos, but that trying to determine what is the percentage from collections or from the revenue that dentists should put on marketing. And I can tell you that most practices are doing less than a minimum to even keep themselves out of attrition, because you're gonna have attrition whatever you do. People move, people pass away, you'll have attrition. In order to even keep it against competition and against the new dentists that come out that are a lot more tech savvy, that use it as second nature for them. About DSOs, which is, I think, the biggest challenge. If you want me, I can speak about that afterwards, against DSOs and stuff like that. If you want to keep up your practice so it won't decline, you have to spend a certain percentage, probably about 5 to 7% minimum. But if you want to grow and expand, that's minimum of 10, 12%, according to experts. I'm not a financial expert. I can see the results of dentists not putting any fuel on their marketing, and then their practice started to shrink. And I've seen, unfortunately, I have experienced seeing a dentist that stopped his marketing and started declining to a point that it was hard for him to pay rent and payroll. And it's very hard to see that, because at that point he realized he needed marketing, but he couldn't afford it anymore. Okay.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and that happens. I mean, it does happen, and I'm sure a lot of the more veteran dentists have seen those things happening. And so just think about that this way: a certain percentage of your income should go toward marketing, and that's the thing that will grow your business. That was Peter Drucker, the marketing guru, that said that marketing. Yeah, marketing. Yeah, a lot of people know him. Is known in the business marketing. Sorry, business coaching. He says marketing. I'm paraphrasing. I may not get it right. Marketing and innovation are what is going to grow your business. All the rest are costs. But marketing and innovation, this is what will grow your business. That's the only things that will grow your business, even more than your technical skill, which is important. Do a good job, first of all. I mean, I'm not saying you should
not to do a good,
but I've seen a lot of very successful dentists that were not the best, that were not the best in their area. I've seen very good dentists that met with me and told me, I don't understand how this dentist, and they were telling me about a certain dentist, that they fixed his mistakes. Say, I cannot understand how he has a lot of patients coming and my door is, my waiting room is empty. It's knowing business. It's not just doing a good job. Okay, so that's why, that's why business and marketing and innovation are the catalysts to your success. Okay, so it's kind of like one thing to remember.
So that's a nice segue. So looking ahead, what are some of the upcoming trends or innovations in dentistry that you, from a marketing standpoint, can talk about, or you think it's on the horizon?
Well, I tell you what is, because I believe that mostly in marketing, it's not gonna change, and the strategy is gonna be the same. The tactics might be different every time, but there is the same strategy that worked on human mind since forever. Okay, so I read a lot of books. I read a lot of marketing books, both new and older. Okay, and they're talking about the psychology of marketing, of selling, of convincing, of persuasion.
Yes.
Okay, those things will not change. Like for example, scarcity or social proof or those kind of things will stay there forever. The way to show the social proof or the way to show that you can have a gadget or a thing or a plugin on your website that will be like the next thing, but those things are still based on the same strategy, on the same workable things. But if you ask me about, so the innovation, I will say now, will be maybe not relevant in 6 months.
Okay.
But I can say one thing that I see like as a trend. Okay, now I know that you did not ask me about the biggest challenges, but I had to mention one thing that I see as a trend, because I've done recently the state of marketing at the beginning of the year, not this year, the year before, and this is something that is getting very big, and it's going to be a problem. And that's one of the reasons I was selected to the Private Dentist Alliance, which is Dr. Gordon Christensen's idea when he saw what's going on with solo dentists. And I'm talking about DSOs at the moment. So DSOs are getting bigger.
Yeah.
And we don't have the actual numbers just because they don't have to provide them. Okay? There is nothing really to know. But I've looked at numbers and I cross-referenced the number of percentage of solo dentist health practices, and I see how big DSOs become. Okay? And so even years ago, I think it was 2016 that I had my article on CNN about DSOs and how so this is a challenge that is affecting every solo dentist here. Now, when I speak about DSOs, I'm not talking about a dentist that owns, let's say, 5 or even 10 practices. I'm talking about the big ones. I'm talking about Heartland, about Aspen Dental, about Pacific Dental, about Smile, Bright Smile. Those big chains that have 700 location, 1,000 location, 1,600 location, or even more now. Heartland is probably close to 1,700. So those big chains are a real threat to dentistry, and ignoring it is silly, and it has different effects. First of all, they can compete with you they have an unfair advantage because everything for them is centralized. They have a lot more budget for marketing, like 20% in a lot of cases can be spent on marketing, and you cannot afford that, okay, as a dentist. So this is one thing, but they also create a certain viewpoint with patients that is detrimental for dentistry, for the success of dentists and the success of patients even. Because what they do is they market, they have advantage because they can have lower prices and they can have more availability of appointments, longer hours, weekends, whatever. They have dentists straight out of dental school working for them, and they can basically give them some money to pay off their education debt, and they can afford. So they have the disadvantage of price and availability, and that's what they're pushing. So they're making, in a way, they're making dentistry a commodity, like a bag of rice.
Mm.
And we've seen that happening in other fields.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so dentists should not just look at dentistry because they may not see that, but look away, look at chiropractic, for example. It became a lot less profitable for chiropractor because it became like, how much is it for an adjustment? You see what I mean? It became a commodity. Now we know that dentistry is not a commodity. It has a lot to do with the quality of the work, with the quality of the lab, with the experience the dentists have. There is a lot to do with that. It's not all about price. Now, I know that, you know that, the dentists listening to this podcast know that, but a lot of the patients, they don't know that. So it became a commodity, and the only way, and actually that's the thing I wrote on that article on CNN, the only way for you to get out of it, because you cannot just go and say, hey, but I do a better job. You cannot say that as a dentist. You are not allowed to. A plumber can say that. You cannot say that as a dentist. So the only thing is to be positioned as quality, as better quality. So somebody will say, will know that, hey, a crown is, it's not like a crown is a crown. This crown is cheaper because, and this is more expensive, but it's justified. And I'm going to keep it for 30 years. You see what I mean? Like, it's worth it to pay a little bit more for that quality.
Absolutely.
And
Totally
to
agree.
communicate that, you need to take a different tack. It needs to be done in the right way. And that's why I developed the predictable patients technology, so that dentists will be able to attract those patients and will be able to position themselves as different, to stand out from the competition, to stand out from the DSOs, so that it will be known that's a different league.
That is awesome. Thank you so much for all the wonderful information you had to share with us today, Barak. You know, how can you tell the audience how they can find you on any of the social media, or if they wanted to purchase your book, how would that happen?
Well, my book is on Amazon. They can look it up by checking Attract Better Patients, or looking up. Like I said, you know, I have plans to make a second edition for this book. You can see my website, dentometrics.com.
Okay.
You'll probably have it written on this nifty
Yes, it will be on the tag of this.
But to learn a little bit more about the predictable patients technology and what it can do for you, I've recorded a video. You can go to PPT, that stands for Predictable Patients Technology, ppt.dentometrics.com, and then you can watch a video and get the data for that. And after that, hey, we can chat, and no questions asked, like, you know, like no commitments or something like that, no strings attached. We can chat, and if it makes sense, we can have a marketing plan done and check if it's a good fit.
That sounds great. I want to thank you once more for joining us and providing the dental community with valuable information I'm sure they could use. Would like to talk to you at some point in the near future and see what you're doing, keep up with you, and maybe bring you back to speak to the dentist community from another perspective as it relates to marketing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us.
Deeper if you need, and I appreciate you having me here. And I hope that this information helps dentists to realize what they're up against and what can be done about that. And again, thank you so much for inviting me.
The Wealthy Dentist podcast is built on connections, opportunities, and meaningful conversations that help jumpstart careers and boost the ROI on your business. Is there a topic you're passionate about, or someone in the dental community who should share their story with us? We want to hear from you. Email your suggestions to the Wealthy Dentist Podcast at gmail.com, and let's create content that informs, inspires, and uplifts the dental world. Your ideas could spark our next big conversation. Let's make it happen. I'm Ward Powell, your host at the Wealthy Dentist Podcast, thanking you for being a part of our journey.